Radical.
Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey to the world of flea marketing. Man, was this a really good to great rainy day. It didn't start off great that morning, and it rained, and I was about to give up on the day, throw in the towel, maybe leave a little early. It rained for maybe, I would say, about an hour, a little bit right after I got there to maybe 10, but I thought that's probably going to be enough to keep people away. Nah, people came back. I wound up with about 140 something in sales for the day, which is really good for a rainy day. Really good for a rainy day near the end of the month. What are some sales that stick out? Well, I sold Mortal Kombat on Xbox 360, Mortal Kombat 9. Didn't have the insert, didn't have the manual. Sometimes it's hard to sell it when they are just a loose disc in a green case. But he asked me, to demo the game. He played for about maybe 5-10 minutes, and he bought it. No haggle on the price. I need to remember that guy. The people that don't haggle, those are my kind of people. My kind of people. Towards the end of the day, also, after not selling any PlayStation 4 games, I sold Batman Arkham Knight for $20, and another game, I think, was it Dishonored? That was something else. It was another game for $20, and then Astroneer for $5. So out of that percentage, more than, a little bit less than a third was PlayStation 4 games. And as usual, over $100, like 80% of the sales were game stuff. But I got a couple DVD sales in there. I think The Little Rascals, a couple other DVDs, same person. Towards the end of the day, I got to really stop doing this because towards the end of the day, I want to eke out a couple more sales. So I say and I lie that that's a buy one, get one free on that. And, a discount. I shouldn't really do that. I should not, because then people will hold me to it. I'm just going to I've started lowering the prices a little bit on certain things, on certain games. I'm just going to hold steady. Like I didn't even really need to. I think it's like I just kind of want to add to my tally for the end of the day, but ultimately it's, I would have sold this person some anyway. He asked for country, and I had like maybe only 3 or 4 country music CDs. I thought I had more country in there. The downside of having everything alphabetical on CD is if somebody wants a specific kind of music, then they're going to have to ask you. But I really only have space there for 2 trays of music CDs, and I really can't justify it because I don't sell a lot of music CDs. So I usually keep those at about 2. Now on the DVDs, I got those on 6 trays, just because normally I have 4, but 6, I feel that's a nice little variety, and I have a lot to really kind of move and try to get rid of. A couple other things. The people that come by that leave me stuff to sell for them, the My Little Pony Teddy Ruxpin people, I told them more video games, more comic stuff, or more like electronics. They dropped off something really nice for me to sell. An Elgato HD 60S, I believe. I have the HD PVR, the Hauppauge, that's what I use. But I've been curious about this Elgato, right? And they said they wanted 100, but anything I get past that, I'm thinking, okay, it's not in the box. It's loose. I mean, it's an Elgato, but, it might be a tough sell. Or at the very least, someone's going to try to talk me down. I put 120 on it. I've seen online, sometimes they go for maybe like 140, 150. But this is at the flea market. So we'll see there. I might wind up actually buying it from them because I'm curious about this Elgato. Is the Elgato HD60 better than the HD PVR2? I mean, it's a lot newer, so probably, right? Only bad thing about it is I am not running Windows 10. And on the latest, you have to have Windows 10 running. And I'm perfectly fine running Windows 8 on my PC. I like Windows 8, man. I don't need to upgrade. So that's what kind of sucks is, you're kind of forced into upgrading when you want to use some of these applications and whatnot. And I don't have another PC, but I'm going to tell them that I'm going to try to sell it, but I might wind up buying it too. If I get me a Series X or a PlayStation 5 and I get back on the channel to playing a lot of gameplay, then I might use that. I used to use it for Shadow of Mordor on the HD PVR, but just curious about the Elgato. So what else? Anything more interesting of note? Um, hmm. We might cut this one off early if I can't really recall. It seems like there's one or two other things. Okay, there's one thing I will mention. So I have my setup changed a little bit different. I have my controllers. If you're looking at everything to the right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 TV screens, and then there's the game systems. And then to the left, what did I have? Okay, I had my comic books to the left corner of the table, and then in between the 4 TV screens and the comic books, I had the controllers. I thought that was a good area to put them. I sold an ugly ass blue camo. I call it the blue Moo Cal Xbox One controller. A Power A white, blue, and black camo. There's another one like it I sold. It was maybe blue. No, it was black, gray, and white. But this one was just like, I didn't think I'd sell it. But I sold it to a kid for $20. So I was really happy about that, really happy about that. But before that, there was a one guy that usually comes by and he buys DVDs from me. Special order to Steven Seagal DVD for him. You ever seen Exit Wounds with DMX? Yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad movie. So, out of nowhere, he starts looking at the game systems, asks about the game systems. Then he asks me, like, well, what are optional upgrades? Because I write down, the Xbox Slim is $140, as is with the game of your choice, but you can upgrade to an HDMI cable. He says I have an HDMI cable. I was like, well, if you have an HDMI cable, I might, if you don't need any connection, I might throw in an extra controller for you. Because, I know this guy, he's bought stuff, he's a regular there. So I said, tell you what, for $140, two controllers, but he wants wireless. I'm like, I think I have wireless controllers. Ironically, I'm running out low on the wired controllers. So I said, okay, maybe we can make that work for you. But he's so weird, man. Like he asked for quiz games. Like Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right. I'm like, talking about the rarest of games. I get lots of 360 games all the time. And I've not seen any Price is Right and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That'd be like the one type of game. I got shooting games, I got fighting games, I got role-playing games. But I'm just at a loss. He'd have to ask me for the one type of game I don't have. It's like, why you gotta be so difficult? That's why I didn't say that to him. But I said, okay, well, maybe we'll see if we can put together a package for you in the next coming weeks. But I reiterated, I got Exit Wounds coming for you. Well, after he left, there was a gentleman and his son. Maybe he might have been like in his 50s, son 20s, 30s, something like that. And they were holding 2 N64 games. The games were WCW Mayhem and NFL Quarterback Club 99. Okay. He was holding them in a baggie. And I think the problem is that they're both in a Ziploc baggie and it has a sticker for $20. I don't think people take a lot of things seriously if they're being sold in a Ziploc baggie. So I might need to find something a little fancier to sell it in. He holds it up to me, looks at me, and he says, hey, these ain't worth nothing. These ain't worth nothing. And I was like taken aback by him, thinking like, okay. I could have been smart and said, okay, so you're waiting 5 to 10 minutes there for me to get done talking to this guy to tell me that it ain't worth nothing. I was thinking, okay, it might be worth something because you're asking about it. You know, if if it wasn't worth nothing, he didn't say it's not worth this much. He just said wasn't worth nothing. So you're just sitting there telling me it's not worth nothing. Like he's just so shocked to see 2 in 64 games, WCW Mayhem, and Quarterback Club 99 in a baggie for $20. I think that's a fairly reasonable price. I mean, they're tested working. It's 2 in 64 games. It's not like you could just stroll down to the GameStop and get any N64 games. You know, I mean, the Quarterback Club, football, okay. But I mean, WCW Mayhem, that's a wrestling game. Wrestling games, you know, they scale a little bit more than the sports games. But the way he says, like, well, they ain't worth nothing. I ultimately just said, which was not a lie, I'm selling those for someone else. Because I was selling those for someone else. So someone was like, well, I think they reiterated and go, well, tell them they're not worth nothing. I'm like, I'll make sure to tell them that. Then they walked off. Strangest thing. But I think they were secretly low-key, wanting to have that be a tactic. And I warned the table to the left of me in that instance. I was thinking, it's probably kind of a brilliant tactic. Because if you point at something, or you hold something up and you say, well, it ain't worth nothing, then you're trying to, put it on that item that's not worth nothing. It's like a maybe a mental trick you're trying to play on the seller, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was not worth anything. What? And then there could be some follow-ups to that where I say, well, you know what? I mean, it's worth what I say it's worth. And even if I want to fib, sometimes I don't have to. Like, for instance, somebody says, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It's not worth $25. I was like, so silly me. I always run out of stock of them. I can't keep them in. I wager a guess I could raise it up to $30. I might still stay out of stock of it. But yeah, I guess it's not worth nothing. Things are worth what I say they are here.